Welcome to Roughing It with Ruth, the channel where everything is a bit rough around the edges. The Summit Trail is a 2-day hutted trail in the Kgaswane Nature Reserve in Rustenburg. If you want just one reason to do this trail, do it for the views. Just look at this epicness. There are 2 huts along the circular trail, Kgaswane and Naga, and the trail can be started at either one of them. Although Kgaswane is substantially bigger than Naga camp, I found Naga to be perfectly comfortable. There are some basic metal buckets and firewood supplied at the camps as well as oil lamps, but I would suggest taking a hiking stove along for ease of use. I think the people who laid out this trail realized that all the hikers would be distracted by the beautiful landscape because they really went to a lot of trouble to mark the trail out clearly. Just keep looking for the little yellow feet. There are also signposts in some areas. If you're not the kind of person who gets distracted by inanimate objects, you'll be pleased to hear that there's also game in the nature reserve. And if you're starting to become immune to the charms of one type of terrain, don't worry, it completely changes. There's even a river with a beautiful waterfall and some lovely pools which make an excellent place for a rest stop. There are a couple of sections where you can't afford to stare out at the view or the wildlife, and you do need to keep an eye on your feet. Overall, it's a really interesting and stimulating trail. So, what's the catch? Well, I wouldn't suggest driving your car directly to Kgaswane's hut unless you have quite high ground clearance. Bring along a strong tolerance for doing uphill and downhill, or a good sense of humor. Otherwise, you might start cursing the people who laid out the path, as it does wind in and out of every single gully along the way. As the name suggests, this trail goes along the summit of many of the ridges. This means that it's extremely hot and sunny, and there's really not a lot of shade. Try to start out very early in the morning, make sure that you take breaks often, and drink lots and lots of water. And definitely don't forget your sunscreen and hat at home. I should also just mention that although I really enjoyed the huts, they are hikers' accommodation, so they're pretty rustic. There's a bucket shower and some very basic ablution facilities. The distances that you walk per day are not very challenging. The one day will be about 14.5 kilometers and the other one 11.5. This means that you should arrive at camp quite early. I'd recommend bringing something to do to pass the extra time, otherwise you might be a bit bored. Despite the fact that the path is quite clearly marked in most places, the little game paths that you'll find everywhere in the nature reserve can be quite misleading. If you lose sight of the little yellow footprints, just backtrack to try and find them again, and I really recommend taking a map with. There was one section right near the end when we were walking back to Kgaswane's camp on the last day, when we completely lost the path and had to walk back on the road. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this one.